If you know you should be doing video for your business, but you're kind of worried about not having a visual aid that you can fall back on, the Glide Gear TMP 100 is probably going to be one of the best investments that you can make. All right, let's talk about it. The first thing I want to mention is this model specifically is such a vast improvement over the previous Glide Gears that we've used before. You can see the one that I've got here that I've used with webinars and with other client work and stuff like that. And it's just really kind of flimsy. And the problem is that when you set your camera up, this ends up bowing in, the hood ends up bowing in, and your camera picks it up. So you end up spending a lot of time, ample time, just adjusting this, trying to re-bow it out. One of the things you'll notice with the new model is the hood is more firm. It looks more boxy and less baggy as this one was in the previous model. That's a huge improvement. However, one of the things you'll notice with the new model, the one I'm using here now, is it didn't lose the simplicity of the design, which was such a win for this particular model, is that the frame remains pretty much the same and it's extremely versatile. You can literally just plug and play and be able to rock and roll in a matter of minutes, which is literally about how long it took me to get this one here set up today. The next thing I want to talk about is it looks super sleek. In fact, I have it set up right here and I'm going to show you some clips of what it looks like. But really, it looks super professional, and it looks like if I were to take it and show it off to a client or have them use it for some kind of shot I was doing out in the field, it would really look professional and have that added amazing touch, whereas, again, the previous model just didn't look all that impressive. So huge improvement there over what those previous models used to look like. And the next thing I want to talk about is that this thing is super easy to install. In fact, it took me about 3 to 5 minutes to get ready to rock and roll and have it set up right here. I'm looking at it right now here on my desk. Awesome. Some things come in a ton of pieces and you have to put it together and it takes you hours, right? You got to read through the manual upside down and backwards just to make sure that you've got the thing set up right. This was not the case at all. It was super simple, a few little pieces of hardware here and there, just tension held and ready to roll. So the next thing I want to talk about is the versatility. This is an extremely versatile piece of equipment. In fact, actually, the way that this thing is set up with the frame, you could literally put it on a tripod. I've got it here on a desk arm. There's a million different ways that you could have this thing set up, and it's super, super simple. In fact, obviously we're talking about the TMP 100 here, but there are actually other versions if you go to their website that can mount to your laptop, which is pretty cool because you can actually put it right there where your webcam is and use it much the same way. So there's a lot of different options that you have with Glide Gear specific design. And I've seen now that they're including even more options depending on your specific needs. For me here, speaking about versatility, one of the things that I love is the tray here in the front. And I'm going to show you what that looks like as well. It will basically allow you to flex that tray back and forth. And so you can put an iPhone there, or you could put a tablet there, or whatever you already have available to you. Right now, I'm using a field monitor, which is a little bit more advanced and requires a little bit more of a setup. But the benefit is it allows me to connect directly to my computer, and I can change my slides, of which I'm actually looking at right now while I'm still looking at you, which was a big deal for us specifically because in the work that we do, coaching and doing online presentations and live streams and so on and so forth, including what I'm doing here right now with you, was really important that I don't break eye contact, that I'm not looking to a monitor here or here like I've done in previous videos, but also having a visual aid that I can keep in my train of thought and having that right in front of me, it just allows me to lock in and focus, which for my ADD brain is super, super valuable to have, I can assure you. Okay, and as far as some additional things that you're gonna wanna notate before you make a purchase or decide to go this route, although I do think it's definitely a viable route, especially less than $200, is your camera may pick up the tablet. So I don't know if you can see, I've done probably a better job, hopefully at this point, of not letting the tablet show up or the light that was illuminating off of the tablet from picking up in my camera. All I did was just put a plate underneath to kind of buffer a little bit of space, kind of provide a little spacer so it was a little bit elevated over the frame that the actual Glide Gear provides or the camera sits on, and that basically allowed it to not see that tablet anymore. Keep in mind, your tablet's gonna be a lot sleeker than my field monitor, so you probably won't have that issue. This is a little bit thicker, but I did pick that up. And then one other thing to consider, and this is probably the biggest thing to consider, I think this thing is fantastic for travel, which is great. It comes in a bag that you can easily break this down and travel with it because of the seamlessness of installation and taking it apart, and I think that's really fantastic. But you will need to keep in mind that it's probably gonna be your best case scenario to direct connect to your computer. Right now I'm going through OBS and also have a continuous power source. The reason being is that to take your camera off every time, remove your your memory card or your power source and having to redo that or update your bat. It's just going to be arduous. And the problem is it does take a little bit of time to get the camera angle perfect and your lighting perfect and everything set up. And so it's just going to be a little bit more arduous than necessary as it's sitting there and mounted to the frame to have to take that off, put it back, make sure everything's as it is. It's not necessary. It's just an added step that I feel like is probably going to be an inconvenience for a lot of people. Best case scenario, continuous power source, and make sure you're direct connected through something like a cam link, going through a software like OBS or whatever software of your choosing is probably going to be your best way to utilize this piece of hardware. Cannot recommend it enough. I'm super impressed with the progress and the improvements that they've made over the previous models, as I'm sure you can gather by now. Definitely worth the investment. That $200 is going to go a long way, I think, towards helping you produce higher quality video and keeping your train of thought right in line, which again is something for me, being ADD as I am, really makes a big difference for me as a business owner. I use it for webinars, I use it for presentations, I use it for live streams, I use it for client work. Really a powerful tool that I'm going to ROI very quickly. All right, and if you got a lot of value out of this, I've got 3 resources for you might want to check out from here. The first one is my ultimate startup checklist. It's womb to tomb, everything that I think you need to start your business and do it the right way in the order that I think you should be doing things. Number 2 is my what type of business should you start quiz. It actually will tell you this is the best business model that's best for your specific personality or your specific lifestyle. Really helpful resource. And then number 3 is how you can market and sell your product or service online without sounding hokey or gimmicky or a little salesy, right? A lot of people are uncomfortable with that. That's going to teach you exactly how to do that. All 3 of those resources are included in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.